So we're going to be using a new technique in Animate called the camera. And what that does is it's like it takes your movie and then it has the ability to place a camera that you can move, tilt, pan, zoom, all of that stuff. So I'm using this Jeep document, which you remember has multiple layers and they move at different speeds because they're either closer to us or further away from us. But to add a camera layer, this is an older document. So what I have to do is, first of all, I have to go to Modify, Document. And then when I modify the document, to use the camera or some of the other things that we're going to be doing, we have to have advanced layers. Now, if you're making a new document now, it will be by default have advanced layers. But if you try to do this and you can't do it, it's because you need to enable advanced layers. So under Document Settings, I'm going to say Use Advanced Layers. So, and I'm going to say OK. And you'll see now that there's a little camera icon here in the timeline that is now highlighted. So I'm going to go and be at my my first layer, the layer that's closest to us, because you remember we got clouds are all the way in the background, etc. So I'm going to go to bushes and I'm going to add a camera layer. And the camera layer is just like something that it's like a motion path or whatever. It's not a layer that's going to be visible, but it's going to be a layer where something happens on it. So you'll see that when I added the camera layer, it's called camera, and it automatically pops up this slider. So if I do this, if I come to say frame 40 and insert a keyframe, and I move that camera in, and I pan this way, well then, that means I'm going to jump from here to here. And sometimes you do want to make a jump cut. But if we want it to zoom in, all I have to do is click in there and insert a classic tween. And so when it plays now, it's going to look like this. Now the other thing that I can do is I can come here and let's go to Properties. So we've got camera settings. So let's say I make another keyframe here at 60 and I add a keyframe. Let's say I want to zoom in a little more. Let's pretend there's somebody in the Jeep that we can see. And if I wanted to rotate the camera, I can put in a value here. So let's see. I'm just going to rotate it. Let's do something crazy so we can see it. So it's going to be 67 degrees. And again, it's going to change to that. And of course, if I insert that classic tween, we're going to see it rotate. And if I want to, at the end here, I'm going to add another keyframe. And I'm not going to zoom, I'm not going to rotate, but what I'm going to do is using the camera, I'm going to make it appear that the Jeep is kind of going up the side of this mountain. And that's as far as I can go. So I'm going to click in here and I'm going to insert a keyframe. I already inserted a keyframe. I'm going to insert a classic tween. So let's go ahead and test this video. Control, test movie, and browser. what you're going to want to do is, using this camera, you're going to add it to one of your documents, and you're going to see how that works. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete this camera layer, and everything's going to go back to normal. So no more zooms, no more anything. So the next step is we're going to adjust the way the camera is looking at our layers. So again, I'm on the brush layer, and I'm going to add my camera. All right, so this is my camera. This is my camera, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the depth of the layers from the camera. That means I can adjust how far away or how close something is from the camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Window, Layer, Depth, and that's going to open up this window right here. And so, for example, this represents where the camera is. So watch, when I click on, this is the focal point of the camera right now. And right now, all these layers are right here at 0. So for example, this represents the actual camera. We're looking above, right? We're looking over the scene. But let's go ahead and select the bushes. And the bushes are highlighted. And if I move the bushes closer to the camera like this, they're going to disappear, but you see them moving on the other side. So what I'm going to do, and now that I've told at least one thing to be at a different level, you'll see that I can actually move the camera now. But we want to keep it at 0 for now, because we're going to do all our moving in the actual document. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and move the bushes right about here. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to move the Jeep. The Jeep now is in front of the bushes, so that's not going to work. So I'm going to have to exaggerate this a little bit. This might not be the best example for this, because I don't have a lot of extra room. But let's go ahead and move the Jeep is in front of the bushes, the trees. And we're looking above the hills. The ground actually should be there. And the mountains are going to be slightly closer. And the clouds can stay where they are. And if I want the clouds to not move at all, there are no clouds, the sky, I can say maintain size. But I'm not going to do that, because let's see what happens now when we look at the camera. So I'm going to move this over here, and let's look at our camera. So that's pretty wild. Things are at different layers, which is pretty cool. Now this isn't a great example of it, but you can see where now if the camera were in a different, I mean, if my scene had didn't have as much blank space, but look at that. So now I'm switching to to like moving the position of the camera, not zooming. And so let's just say, for example, if we started here, and let's just, again, this isn't the greatest example, but you get the idea. So if we started here and we wanted to act like we were zooming in, oops, I can switch it back to zoom. And I'm going to go ahead and move this whole thing this way. So now you really see that parallax thing.